What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Open Great League running a triple Sauropod theme team. For those of you that aren't super familiar with the different dinosaur classifications, Sauropods are a group of dinosaurs characterized by their extremely long necks, and one of the most famous examples of a Sauropod is of course the Diplodocus. This team functions as an ABB style team with Aurorus in the lead, Tropius as the safe swap and Shadow Meganium as the closer. On Aurorus we're running Ancient Power over Thunderbolt because the damage buff this season does make Ancient Power a much more consistent charge move, and as well Tropius is the safe swap because if we do see some flying types, at least Tropius can hit for neutral damage with the Air Slash and the Aerial Ace, whereas Meganium gets completely walled, having only resisted charge moves to throw. These Pokemon don't cover each other's weaknesses super well, but it was extremely fun to run this team and I hope you guys do enjoy the battles. But with that being said, let's get into the question of the day. What is your favourite Pokemon that resembles some kind of dinosaur? Let me know in the comment section below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle here, we lead into an Obstagoon, so we need to get out of this matchup straight away. I try to switch, my switch isn't registered instantly, and my opponent eventually switches out into a Nidoqueen. So at the moment, we're looking pretty hard countered, but because my opponent was kind of slow to switch out, we are going to be able to get to 2 Leaf Blades here, and we should be forcing a shield. The first one goes unshielded, it does a respectable amount of damage. The second one gets a shield from the Nidoqueen, but they are able to Poison Jab farm me down. I'm going to wait out my switch clock before coming back in with the Aurorus here. I'm going to come in here, and this is actually too soon to be an Earth Power, but I shield it up anyway. I really just need to start trusting my counting and my instincts there, because it was definitely too soon. They switch into a Gardevoir here, and I am going to be able to retain switch advantage here, but I'm not going to have a ton of health remaining, so I am just going to be giving this Obstagoon free farm. So I decide to undercharge the Frenzy Plant and take them out here, leaving them with just 1 counter extra. I'm going for the Ancient Power. Can we get a boost in this first match? No, but it does land, and it does a decent amount of damage now. It actually does 5 more damage than the Weather Ball. And now can I get to the Weather Ball here before their next charge move? Yes, I can, and Weather Ball is enough to take out the Obstagoon, and I'm able to take that game. Into the next game, we lead Aurorus into Aromatisse, so probably not a matchup you see every day. I'm going to build up to a Weather Ball and then switch into my Tropius just in case they have a hard counter to my grass types in the back. My opponent decides to stay in this matchup, and Charms are doing a massive amount of damage, but our Air Slashes are actually doing a considerable amount back, and of course we get to our charge moves a lot sooner than they do. We go for the charge move here just before the back-to-back Leaf Blades. My opponent lets it go through, meaning I'm able to get to another Leaf Blade up against a Clefable that comes in, and I'm thinking this is probably a triple charm team, and I'm able to get to a Frenzy Plant here before my opponent is able to throw a charge move. Frenzy Plant, barely not able to take them out, but I'm able to Vine Whip, farm them down, and it is a triple charm team because they've got a Wigglytuff in the back. You hate to see the triple charm, but you also love to beat it. I'm coming in with the Aurorus here. I have an Ancient Power loaded. Ancient Power takes out the Wigglytuff, and I'm able to take that game. Into the next game, we lead into a Jirachi, and Jirachi, a big core breaker to the team. I need to get the heck out of there because a Doom Desire would easily one-shot the Aurorus, as it is double weak to the steel typing. They come in with a Talonflame, but fortunately for whatever reason they do shield an Aerial Ace, and they go straight for the Brave Bird, lowering their defense, meaning I can come in with the Aurorus and easily overfarm here and go for a Weather Ball just before they're able to get to another charge move on the Talonflame. My opponent decides to shield their Talonflame, so I will shield once and commit to a full Powder Snow farm down, but the opponent comes back in with the Jirachi, so I switch into the Meganium. We're going to let the Doom Desire go through and then build up all the way to the Earthquake here, and at this range Earthquake will easily take out the Jirachi. and we take them out there. They come back in with the Talonflame. They're able to farm me down. I come in with the Aurorus here. I'm going to shield this and then fully powder snow down this Talonflame and hope that I can take out whatever is in the back. And it's a knocked out, so I'm going for the Ancient Power. Like I said, it does 5 more damage than the Weather Ball. So 2 Ancient Powers with a couple powder snows will easily be enough to take out this Noctowl, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent. Into the next game, we lead into a Talonflame this time, and this is it's where we want to see the Talonflame here. We're going to go for the Ancient Power after 7 Powder Snows. That's always the way you want to time your charge moves up against the Talonflame. My opponent throws 1 Incinerate before throwing. Flame Charge isn't enough to take us out, so I go for 1 more Ancient Power just before they reach the next Flame Charge. We get the final shield, and now we should be able to get to another Weather Ball here, but somehow we desync, and that Incinerate registers the damage before I can throw my charge move, which is super annoying. We're really not in a good position here. I will finally use my shield here, go for 1 more Air Slash. They switch into Registeel, so I'm going to come in with the Meganium here. I'm going to shield up this first charge move, go for an Earthquake, and that will do a ton of damage to the Registeel. We farm up to, I think, around 98, 99 energy there. We go for the Earthquake. It doesn't quite take them out. They're going to get to another Focus Blast. That doesn't take me out either. I'm able to Vine Whip, farm down the Registeel, go for 1 Vine Whip before whatever comes in, if it's the Talonflame, and then I'm going for the Frenzy Plant, double resisted, but it will take out the Talonflame. They come in with a Politoed, and at this point a Frenzy Plant will be enough to take them out. And we take that game, despite the lag there, looking like it had costed us the game really early on because our 2 grass types really struggled up against that Talonflame, but somehow we win it. Into the next game, we lead into a Alola Marowak here. We're going for the Ancient Power. We land it, and now I'm going to actually switch here into the Tropius. I'm not 100% sure why I did that, but I was trying to catch a Bone Club. But yeah, probably kind of dumb. I should have just stayed in, but I also want to bait out something else that could be very bad up against my back line. So I come in with the Tropius here, and it looks like my opponent really doesn't want to see Tropius up against whatever they've got. So I'm going to shield this and force their last shield, and then hopefully I can farm them down with the Meganium and then sweep whatever is in the back. So I'm going to let this go through. No, I'm actually going to maintain my alignment here, and I'm thinking that they probably have something very strong up against the Aurorus, and I was right because it's a Scrafty that would easily be able to beat the Aurorus here. So I come in with the Meganium. They're going to go for a foul play, and now they're going to, well, actually I'm going to go for the Frenzy Plant here. It does a lot of damage. I switch into the Aurorus and I'm able to throw the Weather Ball, but they also switch and catch it on their Swampert here, and now we're in a difficult position here. We're going for the next Weather Ball. It does a lot of damage. My opponent has to throw their charge move here. Hydro Cannon takes us out. I come back in with the Meganium. I'm able to farm them down. And can I get to the Frenzy Plant? Yes, but it's a CMP tie. And we lose to the Scrafty as they do win CMP. And they're able to take that game. So GG's there. Super close game. Kind of a questionable play by me to switch out of that lead matchup. But into this game, we lead into a Shadow Marwile. I switch to try and catch an Iron Head, and they go for a Play Rough. Marwile is a massive core breaker to the team as well, because both Tropius and Aurorus have bad matchups, but Tropius is super bulky, so if we just shield here, we should be able to at least get a shield back from this Shadow Marwile. And we do get the shield there, and at this point I'm happy to let the Tropius go down, and this time I will come in with the Meganium and farm them down with the Vine Whip damage there. My opponent comes in with a Sableye. This is a pretty good matchup for us, especially with an energy advantage, because these Frenzy Plants are going to be absolutely devastating. My opponent goes for the foul play here. I will shield this up, and then I'm going to go overfarm just a little bit. I pause for a split second, go for the Frenzy Plant, preventing a catch. We take out the Sableye, they come in with a Defense Form Deoxys. We're going to count to 5, go for the Frenzy Plant, and this is actually a CMP tie on the Psycho Boost, which is perfect because that will debuff their attack, meaning that the counters aren't going to do as much damage. I come in with the Aurorus here, going for the back-to-back Weather Balls, and this will easily be enough to take out the Defense Form Deoxys, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead into an Alolan Ninetales. Now, of course, we have two Pokemon extremely weak to Ice, but if my opponent decides to start shielding up in this matchup, I will be forced to switch into my Tropius. We get a shield from the Ninetales here. We're going for another Ancient Power up against the Ninetales. They let it go through, and now I do switch into the Tropius, and at this point, I should be able to Air Slash, farm them down before they get off the second Weather Ball, so I don't mind using one shield in that scenario. We go for a Leaf Blade up against this Galarian Stunfisk, and my opponent is over farming a ton before eventually going for a Rock Slide here. That does a pretty big amount of damage, but we are triple resisting the Mud Shots, so they're going to be forced to throw another charge move, and they do throw just before we get to the second Leaf Blade, or the third Leaf Blade, sorry. So very good timing there by my opponent. I come in with the Meganium. We're going to let one charge move go through, and they decide to go for the Earthquake. That does ever so slightly more damage than a Rock Slide, but I don't think it was the right play, and whatever they had in the back was super weak to Meganium, so my opponent concedes the match. Into the next game, we lead into a Shadow Victory Bell, so we pretty much already know it's going to be Bastiodon, but for some reason I switch out anyway. If for whatever reason you decide to run this team, if you see a Shadow Victory Bell in the lead, just stay in, and you can get at least one Weather Ball off, maybe two, maybe force both shields, and then you should be able to sweep with the Meganium in the back with a shield advantage, because typically you see a Sableye or a Medicham. Now at this point, the Bastiodon has fully farmed me down, so we're not in a very good position whatsoever. I'm going to come in with the Meganium, and at this point I think I'm probably going to double shield and then just fully farm down this Bastiodon. So they get to the second charge move here, and I will shield this up, and I'm going to fully Vine Whip farm them down, but they come in with the Sableye, and at this point there's just nothing I can do, so massively misplayed this game. I'm going to switch into the Aurorus now. We should be able to tank a foul play quite comfortably, and we're going to be able to get to a charge move here. We even get to the back-to-back Weather Balls. We get the shield from the first one. Now we're going for an Ancient Power, as it does deal slightly more damage, but they're just going to be able to Shadow Claw farm me down, and it's whether or not they can get enough energy for the back-to-back foul plays. First one comes through, second one comes through, and at this point we're going to be losing this game. So yeah, didn't play that very well, but I wanted to include it because I have identified how I should be playing up against that team now. And into the next game, we lead into a Dedenne. We switch here into the Tropius. No real reason to catch the move, but it is an ABB style team, so I need to bait out their fire types if they have some, and they've got a Talonflame on their team, so it is good that we bait it out now. We're going to come back in with the Aurorus here, go for two Powder Snows, go for the Ancient Power here, and we get a shield from my opponent. We're going to shield this up because they are now boosted, and now they're double boosted. We're going to go for the Ancient Power once again up against this Talonflame. We get the shield, but we get the boost, and unfortunately they only boost our attack and defense by one stage, but it's enough for this Weather Ball to take them out. They come back in with the Dedenne. We're going to overfarm here. We're thinking that perhaps they got something weak to the Aurorus in the back, so we overfarm even more. We go for the Ancient Power. Can we get a second boost? No, but we take them out, and they have a Venusaur in the back, a Shadow Venusaur, so this Weather Ball is going to do massive damage here, and one more Powder Snow is enough to take them out, and I'm able to take that game. Into the next game, we lead into a Lantern, so I'm going to instantly swap into the Tropius here. My opponent stays in for a while, and they try to catch a Leaf Blade there on their Alolan Marowak, but I don't throw straight away. But my opponent does throw straight away. That's just a Bone Club that does absolutely nothing. One of the weakest charge moves in the game, and it's triple resisted, so we easily tank that. We go for an Aerial Ace here just before they reach a Shadow Bone. They let it go through, and at this point, I'm happy to let the Tropius go down. Shadow Ball takes us out, so they were running Shadow Ball, which is probably why they baited, but if you are watching this, you really need to build up to the Shadow Ball, or at least Shadow Bone, before you try and bait. We go for an Ancient Power, take out the Marowak, we get another boost, but unfortunately it's not going to help us too much in that matchup. We switch into the Meganium, they go for a Surf, which is resisted. They now come in with a Shiftry. We're just going to go straight for the Frenzy Plant. This is also resisted, but it does huge damage up against the Shiftry, and I think from this range we can actually double shield against the Shiftry and fully Vine Whip farm them down, and that is exactly the play we're going to go for. We shield the second foul play. Can we farm them down? Yes we can, and at this point this is easily going to be a KO with the Frenzy Plant. My opponent shields the first one. We've got the back-to-back. Anything they throw is still resisted, and we can easily take out the Lantern and take that game. And now going into the final battle of this video, we lead into a Jellicent. If we were still running Thunderbolt, that would not be such an awful matchup, but unfortunately we're running Ancient Power, so we need to get out of there pretty much straight away. We come in with the Tropius here, we're met with a Galarian Stunfisk. And this Rock Slide is going to do a lot of damage, but it doesn't quite do 50%, so we can tank a second Rock Slide, which is really nice because they're still not going to be able to Mud Shot farm us down, as the Mud Shots are triple resisted. We go for a second Leaf Blade, we go for a third Leaf Blade. My opponent lets me get to it. They overfarm a ton of energy before they shield that, and at this point my opponent is going to throw their charge move. They've realised they can't farm us down. Rock Slide takes us out. I come in with the Meganium. I will tank the first move, but if they get to a second one, I'm probably going to have to shield it. And I'm just contemplating, yes, I will shield this Rock Slide. I'm able to farm them down. They have an Obstagoon in the back. This is a tricky situation here, as a Frenzy Plant will not quite be enough to take them out, so I don't really know what to do here. I shield the Night Slash, going for another Frenzy Plant here, and it does a lot of damage, but not enough to take him out. I switch into the Aurorus to catch the Night Slash, and it is just a Night Slash. They come back in with the Jellicent, and at this point they're just going to go for a Bubble Beam, debuff my attack, and there's not a lot I can do here. All I can do really is hope that they don't overfarm a ton of energy, so that I can come in with the Meganium and then go for a Frenzy Plant. But it looks like my opponent is smart. They're going to farm to 100 energy, throw a Bubble Beam, and then go for a Shadow Ball up against the Meganium, and there's not a lot I can do about it. Bubble Beam takes me out. They have another charge move loaded, and it is the Shadow Ball that takes out the Meganium, and I do lose that game. So GG's to that opponent there. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, then make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. If you want to see more content like this in the future, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you're notified whenever I upload a new video. And with that being said, let's get into the shoutouts from my previous video. So I'm actually going to do all three shoutouts together here, as they all chose the same Pokemon. So we've got the Jimmy Bob Timmy, we've got Skeeter, and we got James Cockerham, who all mention Mew with Psychic Fangs as the most busted Pokemon to learn it. And I 100% agree. Mew is a Psychic type, so Psychic Fangs would be Stab. It already learns Shadow Claw, one of the best, if not the best, fast moves in the game, and it has a ton of different charge moves, meaning it's always going to be threatening shields. So combined with Psychic Fangs, that's a deadly combination. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.